Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mind Garbage. My name is Eric Myers. If you didn't know, Mind Garbage is a weekly show where I talk to you for roughly 10 minutes about whatever I want, whether it's movies, video games, comics, TV, whatever. Really, seriously, whatever I want to, I talk about it. Today, I wanted to talk about the Justice League footage that kind of came out during Comic-Con over the weekend. It was expected that we would see something, with DC films usually when they have these panels and they show off new movies that are coming out, and we know pretty much everything, all their slate that's coming out. So we got a Wonder Woman trailer, which looks really cool and really awesome, but I want to dive into the Justice League stuff because this is, I feel, the next, big Suicide Squad is pretty consequential for other reasons, but aside from Wonder Woman, I feel like Justice League is really an important movie because this is their Avengers. DC's Avengers, the Justice League. They've been building towards this now with almost 3 movies, so this is a pretty big thing. I wanted to talk about my reaction overall to the film, or to seeing the footage and everything for it. Overall, my feelings about it are pretty positive. There's little tiny things that I am worried about, but overall I'm pretty excited about the footage that I saw. One of the things that I like immediately right off the bat is the tone, which is also a negative. I'll get into that later. The tone is much more lighter. It reminds me a lot of just the Justice League comics, and I think having Geoff Johns in there, even though Zack Snyder is directing this still, you can definitely see the influence of Geoff Johns in this movie, where it's very much, a lighter tone. There still seems to be a hurried rushing towards this overall goal of assembling this team because Steppenwolf is coming. But I like that they're having a little bit more fun with it. The character interactions between Bruce Wayne and Ezra Miller's Barry Allen, or the Flash in particular, were really cool for me to see because you get to see a different side of Batman, and this is what's just interesting to see coming off Batman v Superman, which is such a, I liked the movie a lot, but it's such a dark and depressing and dire movie, and it has a dark, depressed, really just brooding Batman in this movie, where you're watching him in Justice League, and that's not really what you get, which I think is very interesting, where you have a Batman that is still serious, still Batman, but seems like it reminds me a little bit of the animated series Batman, where he's serious, there's no doubt about it, but he still has a little bit of fun with that character of himself in a way. And I think that's important, and I'm actually really glad to see that they're moving towards that. And that's what I think overall, big positive thing is. When I was watching this, my thought was, okay, this is like Bruce Timm Justice League. When you're watching it, it's this is seeing these characters, and you see Flash being how, a little bit more like Wally West, a little silly or whatever, but it reminds me of the Flash in Justice League, which I can't remember if that was Barry Allen or Wally West. Pretty sure it was Barry. I could be wrong, but who knows. And Justice League Unlimited too. But he's just more of a little more eccentric, a little weird and silly. And one of the lines that I really like was, where he's like, well, "What are you doing sitting in my second favorite chair?" Which is such a weird thing for someone to say, instead of, "Why are you sitting in my favorite chair?" No, you're sitting in my second favorite chair. But that whole scene was really cool to see a Bruce Wayne that is admittedly does not seem to care about his secret identity, is going up to these random metahumans, but he's telling them, "Hey, I'm Batman." And I like that scene, and it was interesting to see particularly how different Flash's powers look as opposed to the TV show, where his, there's just a ton of electricity just beaming around him, and I thought that was really cool in the effect of when he throws the Batarang, Batman throws the Batarang at him, and you see Ezra Miller, he's kind of looking around at it, he's examining the situation, and he kind of has that moment where, as the audience, where it's you're watching him realize that's Batman. He's thrown a Batarang. That means Bruce Wayne is Batman. That's kind of crazy. And then he just grabs the battering, which I thought was really funny and a nice little touch. Is that he didn't just like run and swipe and grab at it. He like did this weird like kind of turn where he grabbed it like with his fingertips, which I thought was really funny. And then just immediately like he's stoked to join the Justice League. He's like, yeah, I need friends and all that. All that is really, really cool and really interesting. I like how they're playing up this, this is definitely a very inexperienced Flash. And I like that. I think that what makes the Flash such an interesting and cool character to me, especially, from watching the show and, my real like base level watching, just as in like watching Justice League like this show, is that everything can be dark and depressing and dire and horrible, awful situation, and the Flash is there kind of sitting in the corner like, it's not that bad, like, come on, it could be worse, like, I like that attitude that he has, and it seems like he has it, in spades. This one. Another thing that sorry, just on my body. Another thing that I really enjoyed too was actually seeing Jason Momoa's Aquaman in a situation where he's not pandering to the audience, which was a pretty dumb scene in Dawn of Justice, but seeing him actually be in the movie and look really like just cool, anonymous. And the thing with Aquaman that is such a funny character is that he always gets short end of the stick, which he really does not need to, because he is literally Superman of the sea. He is the god of the seas. And I feel like they're going to definitely play that up on this. And that was another thing that I really liked in this movie, was the little scene where, he, is talking to Wonder Woman and they're in his cave or whatever, and he's like, he said more or less that he would join us, and she's like, more of more or more of less, and he's like, less, and she's like, you said no, and like, yeah, he said no. And just that little interaction, I think having Jeff Johns step in to be the Kevin Feige of all this, I can see where this is already having a positive effect, where you're getting to see these characters be human, which is something that in DC, I once remember reading something, I don't remember where exactly it was, but I thought it was explained really well, where Marvel is humans dealing with the fact that they are gods, and DC is gods dealing with the fact that they are humans. And I like that we're kind of getting shades of that, where you see, Wonder Woman, like, I feel like in this movie we're going to get these characters that are blessed with these insane powers, and they are gods, and for all intents and purposes, where you have Aquaman being god of the seas, and then you have Wonder Woman, who is a freaking Amazonian princess, goddess, woman, lady, whatever you want to call her. And then you have characters like Batman, who are well established. You have Cyborg, who is crazy. I have Cyborg and Flash are the wild cards, which I cannot wait to see them, like, getting to see. The thing that makes me excited for this movie is that, and it was why I was excited for Batman v Superman, is that it's seeing all these characters that we've known for a long time and seeing them on film, which is always just exciting. And the costumes, I think, look really cool. I think what is cool to me about Flash's costume specifically is it reminds me a lot of Injustice Flash. It's that very like metallic, almost like an Iron Man type suit, but with a little bit more flexibility, which I think is cool. And it's probably going to be like a Wayne Tech suit, so we'll see. But getting on to one thing that I don't like, and I'm a little worried, is that one of the things that I enjoyed about Batman v Superman a lot is its tone. I liked the tone a lot, which I know a lot of people, like, I understand I'm in the minority for really liking this film. But what I liked about it was this dark and dire, like, feeling of how DC movies have been so far, with Man of Steel and then that. Suicide Squad makes sense to me that it would be a little crazy and fun or whatever. Wonder Woman looks kind of a mix of both. But it's one of those things where it makes sense, but I'm a little worried that I don't want the tone to be too conflicted, where they try and be really dark and really broody and moody and all that sort of stuff, but they're trying to have fun. And what kind of worries me is something that I saw was a screenwriter, Max Landis, who didn't really like the trailer. I don't necessarily agree with him, but one thing he said that I do agree with is that he was saying this looks like it would fit really well in with Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. And I hear that, I'm like, you're kind of right, which worries me. But I think it will be different. So we'll see. I mean, overall, I am very, very excited for this movie. Getting to see the picture of all of them standing there, which is the thumbnail of this video, I could not be more excited seeing it. Like, it's just so cool. It's an exciting time we live in. Comic book movies are so good. Well, most of them are good. You got your stinkers in there, like Thor 2: The Dark World and Iron Man 2. Really, it's the twos that are hard to do, but yeah. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you'd like, you can like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friends, do whatever you want. I don't care. If you could, I'd really appreciate it if you follow me on Twitter at EricMyers93. Link down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys around. Again, sorry for my shuffling of my schedule. I had a child over at my house for a week. That was really interesting. And I'll tell you what, it's really hard to do videos where you get excited and you talk about stuff when you're trying to have them nap. It's not easy. But thank you guys very much for putting up with me. And I will see you guys later. Yeah, who knows? Maybe you'll see me tomorrow, maybe next day. I don't know. It depends. You never know. Maybe you'll watch another video tomorrow or today, right after. Do what you want. I'd appreciate it if you watch those videos. Really would. Thank you guys very much, and I'll see you all later.